Hi, I'm C.C. Péan, and this is Reclaiming Your Health.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? I am C.C. Péan, and this is Reclaiming Your Health. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I have a dish for you that I'm sure you're going to love. One of the cuisines that people that typically are transitioning from a meat protein heavy diet to a plant-based diet, one of the cuisines that is most often eaten is Indian. Ethiopian is another one. A lot of Asian cuisine because you can very easily omit meat products or meat protein. And so this is Southern Asia, and it's an Indian dish called Saag Paneer, which means spinach and cheese. And let me tell you, my mother was from Guyana, South America, so my introduction to Indian food is kind of the Caribbeanized Indian food, but I love Indian food as well. I love the kofta, the malai kofta, which is a vegetable fritter. I love saag paneer. I love chana masala. I love all of those things. And the one issue I have is there are times when you go to Indian restaurants and they'll have all of these vegetarian dishes or these meat-free dishes, but they're super heavy with cream and butter, and it tastes good, but we're trying to get away from that. So if you're somebody who is vegetarian wanting to transition into a vegan lifestyle, or somebody who's vegan who misses those luscious Indian meals, this is for you. So saag paneer is made from spinach. It typically has a lot of cream in it, like heavy cream, and Indian cheese, which is it's kind of like a tart, slightly tart, um, almost the texture of like a firm tofu, but very, very flavorful and very, very creamy. Well, one of the great things about the world that we're living in today is that we have got purveyors that have come up with ways to make things that mimic dairy products, etc. Now, I'm not big on using meat substitutes and things like that, but these are actually really good products because their ingredients are incredibly pure. So one of the things we're going to use tonight is Ripple half and half. We're going to use this in place of cream or coconut milk. And it's a plant-based half and half. It's great because it's not sweet. It's really meant to be used in sweet or savory preparation. I've purchased some of these sometimes, and they actually have a sweetness to them, and we don't want that. So this has in it water, sunflower oil, pea protein, and organic cane sugar. Great, right? Okay, and then the other product we're going to use is Miyoko's organic cashew milk mozzarella. Now, obviously, this is not paneer, but it's a great substitution for paneer. And in this, there is organic cashew milk. So if you have a nut allergy, you can't use this. What I would suggest is that you use firm tofu. Won't have the same effect, but it's still in the ballpark. Okay. So this has organic cashew milk, organic coconut oil, organic tapioca starch, sea salt, mushroom extract. Super simple. I love that I know everything that's in here. Okay, so that's the second thing that's going to go in here. We also have some tomatoes. You can slice up big tomatoes, Roma tomatoes. I have these grape tomatoes and I wanted to get rid of them, so I'm using them in the dish. I have my chopped spinach. I bought some frozen spinach. This is a 15-ounce package of chopped spinach. Do not buy, what's the other one called? There's another that's not chopped. I can't remember what it is, but make sure you buy chopped spinach because this is fine. You want it to be very, very finely chopped. I do not use fresh spinach. You can. I don't. I use frozen. I suggest you use frozen. 15 ounces. We also have here some onion, we have some fresh ginger, garlic cubes, and here I have some garam masala, I have some turmeric, I have some cumin, and I also have a little bit of mustard. Now this dish typically uses fenugreek. I do not have fenugreek. Interestingly enough, a great substitute for fenugreek is mustard, but not only mustard, maple syrup. Isn't that kind of bizarre? It is. But that if you substitute mustard for fenugreek in any recipe, add it at the end because it will, the flavor and everything will cook out. There's a sweetness to fenugreek that maple syrup mimics. Who'd have thunk it? Okay, so we're gonna get started. My pan is heating up. This is simple. Now, I would suggest if you're making this dish, I would do some lovely short grain brown rice, or you could do quinoa. I would do some chickpeas, some chana, like chana masala, some spicy chickpeas on the side. It would make a delicious dish. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to prep all my stuff before I put it in the pan because that pan is hot and it's gonna go very quickly. Now you can dice this if you like. I'm gonna slice it thinly because I love onions and I like the texture of onions. If you're somebody who doesn't like the texture of onions, then I would suggest that you mince these, but I like the texture of onions, so I'm just slicing them thinly. I'm gonna go ahead and cut my grape tomatoes in half. Don't worry about the seeds or the pulp inside of this. We're gonna cook this down. So I'm probably gonna do about a cup and a half of these. Typically when Indian dishes are cooked, you know, you use the whole seed. Like for example, you use the whole cumin seed, and I don't do that. You can, but I don't do that. I kind of try to simplify everything. The taste is slightly different, but it's still good. Okay, so we've got about a cup and a half of our grape tomatoes. I'm gonna use 4 cloves of garlic. And I'm just gonna smash these. And just kind of mince them up. I've also shared with you that there's like a garlic puree that you can get in the produce section. If you don't want to go through all of this, you can shortcut and use that as well. You need to check the ingredients on some of those though, because some of those actually have whey, which is a milk product. So if you're vegan, you're going to want to avoid that. If you're vegetarian, you don't have a problem with that, then fine. Okay, so we've got that done. And we have our ginger, but I'm going to wait on our ginger. I'm going to do our ginger directly in the pan. So now I'm going to add a little bit of avocado oil to the pan. I like to cook with avocado oil because it's made for high heat. So I've got that in there. I'm going to go ahead and add my onions. Get these cooking. This dish, I would say from start to finish, takes about 20 minutes. One of the things I will tell you to do though is make sure that that frozen spinach you buy, make sure that it's thawed out. And actually, you're not only going to want to thaw it out, but you're going to want to get rid of the liquid. You know, spinach holds a lot of water. Okay, so those have begun to break down. I'm going to add my tomatoes. And I'm going to add my garlic. Continue. Let that cook. We don't want our garlic to burn, so we're going to keep moving it around. Burned garlic is not a good taste. Turn the heat down just a bit. Okay. Now I'm going to grate with my ginger in here. Probably about a teaspoon worth. You could also just finely mince that. It's really your preference. Or again, you could buy the tubed ginger. All right. That smells lovely. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do right in the center here, I'm going to take my spices, drop them right there. I'm actually going to add just a touch more oil, just a touch. I'm going to let that kind of toast that a little bit. It's sizzling, which is what I want. It's fragrant. So the next thing that we're going to do, I'm going to show you how much liquid is in this spinach. You gotta get rid of this liquid. You can even put this like in a kitchen towel, and a side of the clean kitchen towel, obviously, and twist it tight and get all the liquid out. So we're gonna do this by hand. As much out as you can, and add it to the pot. I've probably got a cup and a half of water here already. All right. So look at that. Look at how much water I got out of that. So you have to squeeze the water out. Wash my hands. We're adding liquid into this, so we really want to make sure that we get out all the unnecessary liquid from the spinach. Okay. So now that that's in here, we're just going to mix this up. It's so beautiful, the vibrant green. You've got the onions are yellow from the turmeric. And we've got our beautiful tomatoes. So typically, if you were using the real paneer, what you would have done before you did any of this, you would have pan fried it. We're not doing that. Okay. Clean up a little bit. And let's cut up our cheese. So again, this is Miyoko's Creamery organic cashew milk mozzarella, Italian style. I'm gonna cut this. And you know, of course, you can use as much of this as you'd like. I've made 3 slices. And don't crumble this. You want this to stay like kind of in whole pieces. So I'm just gonna cut some chunks. They're probably about a 1/2 inch thick. What's gonna happen once this hits the heat, it's gonna start to break down a little bit, but it's still gonna maintain most of its shape. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this up. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add our cream, which is our vegan half and half. And really, you're gonna add as much of this as you like. I'm probably adding a good cup. So I would just kind of graduate, because it really depends on how much onion you use. I used half of an onion. It depends on, your spinach, how much spinach you have in the pan. I used a 15-ounce frozen bag of spinach, but you may want to make more. So just slowly add it. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of this. This is some good stuff. I picked it up from Pickett Sprouts. It's really, really nice. Okay. This looks beautiful. If you're a fan of creamed spinach, you'll love this. One of my clients is a absolute meat protein person, and I made him this, and he loved it. He absolutely loved it. So now I'm just gonna sprinkle my chunks of cheese in the pan, and just gonna make sure it's mixed in well. Looks yummy. And I'm gonna let this cook for a little bit because I want all the flavors to meld. But oops, I missed a piece. But before I do that, I am going to add a little bit of salt. If you notice, we haven't added any salt up until now. So I'm gonna use about a teaspoon's worth of my mushroom salt. I'm gonna mix it up again. This looks so good already. It smells. Let me grab a lid. So we're just gonna let this cook for about 5 minutes or so. Then we're gonna plate and we're gonna taste. Curious what you all would like to see me prepare. Stan Mackey, I guess he's the head of this network, the founder and director of this network, was telling me that he remembers his grandmother's pecan loaf, pecan meatballs, I believe. That is such a classic, like Sabbath potluck staple. So we're going to be making that. Curious, what else you would like to see here? What we can veganize, possibly. It could be something that's a meat dish. We can veganize it, or we can make a new and improved, like healthier version of things. It's so funny. Growing up in the church, in the Seventh-day Adventist church, potlucks, I always look forward to potlucks. But there's something that always made an appearance at potlucks in a exceedingly abundant way was cheese. Cheese was on everything. And cheese tastes good, and I'm not somebody who's like into cancel culture. I'm not going to tell you to cancel cheese necessarily, but absolutely reduce your use of it, because it's just the dairy products just are not good for us, especially if you're a person of color. They really wreak havoc on our system. So use it sparingly. So that's one of the reasons why I love this dish, is because I get to have that whole cheesy, creamy experience without the dairy. Okay, so this is looking amazing and smelling it too. I think it actually stood to use a little more cream actually. But let me taste this for flavor and see if I need to add a little more salt. I could stand to add a little more. But this tastes really, 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 really good. I love the onions, the texture of the sauteed onions. And you've got the tanginess of the tomatoes, a little bit of that tanginess from the cheese in there. I think we are ready to plate, people. This is going to be a really simple plating today. I've got my beautiful, clean, white bowl here. This is the finished dish. Isn't that beautiful? The vibrant green, the chunks of white in there, and the red tomato. We're just gonna plate it just like this. Now again, if you had some rice, some brown rice, that would be delicious with this. If you had a piece of naan, that would be really, really good. Or even a piece of pita would work with this. This is Saag, veganized Saag Paneer, featuring ripple half and half and Miyoko's mozzarella. So here you have it. Here you have it, and I'm going to taste it. Got a nice chunk of the mozzarella, which is taking the place of the paneer. That is delicioso. All right, y'all, I'm gonna let you go because I'm about to throw down. In about 25 minutes flat, a veganized version, heart healthy, nutrient dense, full of flavor, veganized Saag Paneer on reclaiming your health. Make this, please. Take pictures of it, share it on the Reclamation Project page and on my page. I would love to see what you all came up with. Have a good night.